And we back. JB from Truth Be Told. I'm sitting here with Miss Dorothy Harris, the mother of Stunna. New book is out right now. Let them know.
Greetings, kings and queens around the globe. This is Miss Dorothy Harris, the mother of Derrick, mother of Stunna. Amazon, hit us up.
And I had the opportunity to read this book before I came down here. Amazing book. I love the honesty, the transparency. I mean, the strength to get through the book. I mean, you mentioned a few times that you were crying while writing.
Yes, I were.
So, I appreciate you sitting down. It's truly an honor. I think this book will give people a different perspective of your son, Lil Derrick, BG Derrick. But before all those nicknames, when he was real young, he had the nickname Baby Huey.
Yes.
He did. Okay. So let's take it to the beginning. You mentioned that you had him at 8 months.
Yeah. He was supposed to be a 9-month baby, but he came out at 8.
It was a natural birth.
Yes. Healthy baby boy.
Mm-hmm. And in his real early years, or maybe even months, you were going through some things within your personal life.
Right.
And which resulted in him having to go live with someone else.
Right.
Can you kind of speak on that?
Basically, it was altercation with his dad and someone else that led his dad in prison. And I was young and out of town, so it was like me being alone going through that deal. And he would be, sit there and go. So.
Is that when he received the 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then it was like, I dealt with it as long as I possibly could, and finally, let people know what was going on with me, to the point that they wanted us to come home. I didn't come home, but I allowed my family to talk me to letting Derrick come to the city with him.
And I know that had to be hard. Given how much you love your son, if you read the book, your love for your son is just all through the book. But right. So how hard was that to let him go? Even though it was for the better, you had to get yourself together. But how hard was that?
It was hard enough to have me in tears, but I knew he would be in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I miss him, child.
So eventually you will get back with your son. Explain that when you got back with him.
It was all love. I mean, it was love anyway, because I'm talking to him all the time. I'm just not there with my son. But it wasn't long for years or anything. Just some months I had to get in there to take care of some code procedures and stuff like that there. So when I come back, it's back mom and our son, us against the world.
So where did y'all stay when y'all got back together?
When I came back, Derrick was with my mother and my family, so we stayed with my mother on Melfamine Street, Melfamine and Magazine, between Magazine and Constant Street. And that was known as the 10th Ward, uptown area, where the Schwagman's grocery store was.
Okay, and then around there, is that where your son would go to elementary school?
Yes, he would go to elementary school there, Andrew Jackson Elementary School, the same elementary school that I went to.
Okay. It was like a full circle moment for you, probably. Yeah, so you describe him as being like someone real talkative, real energetic. Give us a little insight on your son, Lil Derrick, at a young age, in like elementary school years.
Starting off, he was quiet, in school when he first began. But once he got to know people, he never shut up. It's like, you got a big mouth, you never shut up, you always got something to talk about. That was Derrick. He always liked to make you laugh, cracking jokes and stuff like that there. So he was one that you want to say, Derrick, shut up, give your mouth a break,
And describe one thing I liked how you described was the neighborhood at the time was more so like a village.
Yeah.
Take me to what it was like in the neighborhood around that time. How everyone respected everyone. It was a lot of legal hustles. You mentioned. Just take me to the neighborhood.
During that time, our neighborhood, Melfamine Magazine, Constant We was on Melfa Main Street. But everybody in that neighborhood knew each other. We could talk to other people's children. We could discipline, not talk to. We could discipline your child if something happened. If somebody came around here messing with us, now we at the time we all had to have each other backs back there and stuff, you know. But when it came to the hustling, grinding, all of this, everybody has their little stores in there. Everybody had something they was selling, you know. We supported one another, grind and stuff like that. We did a lot of suppers and card games, dice games and all like that. We didn't know about nobody coming in there trying to rob us and jack us and all, you know. We all looked out for one another as family. And like I stated, to this day, we are still family. I love my 10-boy family. Shout out to all of y'all. You know who you are. I love you.
For sure. You mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit more about it later on, but you mentioned card games and different gambling situations, and you actually had like a little gambling problem, you can say. I mean, we're gonna touch on it a little later on, but
truth be told, it is what it is.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, you was transparent throughout the book.
Not sugarcoating anything.
Right. Do you think, as far as is that where your gambling kind of started, or was it came from like a younger age? And where did you pick up from, like, what?
I think, I don't know, I really think first me and my sister, I have one sister, Johnny B, and we had the same mom and dad. And I think by us having card games and stuff back in the days, that was a part of it. But it's also, I think, in our blood. My daddy was a gambler, big time gambler. You know, even when we weren't talking, he was that same gambler that we grew up to be. You know.
So, out of all your years of gambling, would you say you won more or lost more?
Lost more.
Yeah, that's what everybody say. That's what everybody say that. And you spoke on the legal hustles in the neighborhood. You know, frozen cups, selling dinners.
Yeah.
But
chips for the pickles and all the, you know, pigs, whatever your thing was for selling snacks in the neighborhood. You know, you had somebody at every house, and everybody supported everybody else.
And your son actually, he found himself a legal hustle, and which resulted in him winning a boombox.
Right.
Would you say that's kind of where the start of his love for music began, or was it before that with the Mardi Gras?
It was before that. It was before that. I mean, we kept music in our household. Like I said, we had a ballroom jukebox, a big long ballroom jukebox. It's the same as a ballroom in our house. And we could just go there and play music. So he was always surrounded around music and stuff. And then came along the bands and the parades and stuff like that. Yeah.
And around this time, is this when you will meet Yam?
Yes. Well, I'm not gonna say that's where I met him at, because we went to school together.
Okay.
You know, we were childhood neighbors and stuff like that there. So I knew he'd been like me many years and stuff like that there. But after I had Derrick, I would say when Derrick came back to the city, me and Yam ended up hooking up. And I guess Derrick was about 7, 8 years old, somewhere in there. I mean, he was still a little baby boy. Might have been younger than that. But Yam always took to him as his son. He always loved him as his son, you know. And eventually, I never told my child he had to call no man dad, because it wasn't, you know. But eventually, he had that love to start calling him dad. So we was one family then.
So when he came around, because before this it was just you and Derrick. So when Yam started coming around, how did Derrick take it? Did he accept it from the beginning, or it took some time?
He always treated him good. You know, he made him feel like he was a part of his family or something like that. So, you know, and you could get little children money and buy them clothes and give them what they want, you know. And so they gonna attach to him. He a keeper, you know. So,
for sure. And so how long would you say you and Yam were dated before y'all got married?
It was a year before we ever did anything, and maybe 4 years or so before we got married.
Okay, and then the wedding day come, and you wanted your dad to walk you down.
Right.
I'll let you. Can you speak on the wedding day?
Okay. During that time, I just did an interview a while back with Mills. I need to make a correction in there as well. So during that time, I wanted my dad to walk me down the aisle. Every girl's dream to one day have their dad walk down, because now me and my dad are close. We know each other again. You know, personally knowing each other and having love for one another. So he was on dialysis, and that particular day he would be having dialysis, that he wouldn't be able to be there. But my next honor was to ask my son, would he do it, and it was a great honor when Derrick was excited about, I'm walking my mama down the aisle. And not only did he walk me down the aisle, and I quoted this wrong because people take stuff out of character, but I say he was a bridegroom. He was a junior groom. He walked me down the aisle. He was my junior groom, and my niece was the bridegroom. And then he turned back around and came back out, and he walked me down the aisle and gave me a wave. And that was an honor. Like I said, I was happy. I was excited because that's a moment that nothing can take that away. Not even a divorce, because I think about the joy of that day, the joy of me and my son being together, us dancing and stuff like that. A video clip would just show me and Derrick just dancing together and stuff. So that was a blessing to me. And the way he did it, people looking for an adult to say something. But he jumped up and he said, I do it, but he said it loud and firm, and everybody just bust out laughing. So, and the people who from my neighborhood, because the biggest bulk of the neighborhood were there, they know, they witnessed that day as well.
So I've read that, and so he was, even though he was a young kid, he was very outspoken.
Very outspoken.
He loved it. Would you say he loved the attention?
Yeah.
He wasn't.
My ex-husband was outspoken, so that's two of them together. Because even today, my ex-husband gonna speak his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I was the quiet one in the shell, unless somebody pissed you off. It's a different me. But I'm the quiet one in the shell. So Derrick and my ex-husband are outspoken, but I also have raised Derrick to speak his mind, because I didn't want him to be who I were.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud him for speaking his mind, as long as you do it in respect.
Mm-hmm. And so around this time, younger years, he would dress for the Mardi Gras Indians. He'd dress up.
Right.
He'd perform in front of hundreds of people.
Thousands of people.
Can you take me to, just that whole era of him dressing up, and, did he like it? He loved it. Okay.
He loved it. He loved that just as much as he loved it banging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's excitement, and it takes you to another spirit. It takes you to a peace zone in your life. I'm saying? You're excited, and if you're looking good, and you can talk, and you can play and dance and all of this here, you're gonna have people behind you. You're not people not just out there for you because you're pretty. Because you can be pretty, you can't play your game. They ain't thinking about you, but you're pretty, and you can talk trash, and you can dance that part. And he loved the attention he got, because you got younger people attention and the older people attention. He made his name for himself while he was out there messing with Creole Wild West. Shout out to Creole Wild West. Walter Cooks was the big chief back then, and his dad, Mr. Walter. And shout out to Terrence, who's the big chief now.
Okay, shout out to them. And you described in the book, that you were a dresser. You like to love to get dressed, and that kind of rubbed off on your son at a young age. There was a time, and you spoiled him to the max. You see that in the book. He had game system, gold card. He had everything he needed, or everything he wanted. He had it all. He was spoiled. And you kept him in the latest fashion.
Right.
But it was a time where you was about to go to Payless. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah,
What happened?
So it was one Saturday and we were on Canal Street shopping, and I had already went to Foot Locker and bought his little shoes and all of this and stuff, that he wanted, but I'm ready to go into Payless. I mean, I don't care about all the name brand stuff, me myself. I'll dress from anywhere, it doesn't bother me as long as I know I'm looking good.
Mm-hmm.
So I text him, we get ready to go in Payless, and no, I can't go in there. Why you can't go in here? No, I can't go in there. So I'm thinking, maybe he went in there clowning, acting silly, really. That's what I'm thinking. You went in here clowning, these people abandoned you out there, so you can't come in here no more. But here's the boy tell me, I don't want my friends to see me coming in or out there. I'm like, really, Derrick, boy, come on here, come on. But Derrick he got teary-eyed. And that's what made me, he was really, really serious to just let him stay outside. And then when we get outside, we come back out, I come back out, so I stay in there, I think I bought about 3 or 4 pair of shoes, honestly. And that was about 3. Might have been a couple, but I think it was 3. But anyway, I give him a bag to hold. He don't want to hold a bag. Because, we catching the bus at this point in time, so you got people gonna see you. You could run into anybody on Canal Street. But that was like shameful to him. He really was dead serious because he's so used to dressing with name brand clothes and stuff like this here that he wanted nobody to see him coming in and out of Payless and didn't want me to buy him nothing out of Payless.
I told you all camera I could relate to that. As I used to do the same thing when I was younger.
Right.
When my mom would go, like I said, she used to buy us the latest Nikes.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came, I used to play sports year round, basketball, baseball, football. When it came to my basketball shoes, I used to have the best basketball shoes. But football and baseball, she got our cleats from Payless.
Right.
I was like, I told my mom, I'm not going in there. And there's one more part of that whole story that I can relate to. Now you had a cousin, Dookie, and his cousin Dookie had a car.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the car and.
But Dookie, God bless his soul, he just recently died this year. I love him to death too. Him and Derrick was more like brothers. And they called each other brothers, really. But Dookie it was an older model car. I can't remember what it was, but it was an old time car. So Derrick, he dropped Derrick off to school, and that was a no-no there. But they're gonna have to read the book.
Okay.
But it was a no-no.
Okay. And then around this time he was, let's say, middle school. You started to notice his attitude change a little bit. And at this time, I believe you and Yam separated.
Yeah.
And you got a call from one of his teachers.
Right.
Can you tell that story of what happened?
I'm going to just say on that part, the teachers loved Derrick. Everybody knew me and my ex-husband and stuff like that. But because of separation, attitude had changed, that something that I didn't even realize, and it was major. It was a major thing, and it hurted him and I, and the teacher. But if y'all want to know that story again, it's in this book, Mother of Stunna.
Yeah, go get that book.
Amazon vintage print exclusive, Hollywood here. Check me out, Mother of Stunna IG.
Yeah, go get that.
It's an intense story.
It is. It really is. That's why I need to go get that. And it really, without speaking too much on it, it was really kind of like heartbreaking, honestly. Right. When I read it, I just felt real bad for him.
That was a part that had me in tears.
That was
one part.
Right. And while we're on the topic of, dads and relationship with dad, it was a part in the book where you spoke on your relationship with your dad.
Right.
And not really having one.
Right.
But you knew that, but you would see him.
Right.
And he would see you.
Yeah.
But y'all never spoke.
Right.
Can you kind of elaborate on just,
My dad and my dad is Johnny Williams. I'm Dorothy Reed Williams before getting married, Dorothy Reed Williams Harris. But born as Dorothy Reed Williams, birth certificate Dorothy Reed Williams, dad on birth certificate Johnny Williams, the same name as Cash Money Brothers, dad, brothers and siblings, probably 22 different brothers and siblings, but
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because
Yeah.
it seemed like it was a lot.
Yeah, it's a cash money. Everybody who say they my sibling, not my sibling, but I ain't gonna elaborate on that. But everybody who say they cash money brothers, sibling is not their sibling. Trust me. But anyhow, uh, whatever happened with my dad and my mom during separating after I was a child, I have a sister that's named after my dad, Johnny Mee. And my mom used to always take us to the bar, you know, to get from my dad and stuff like that. So yeah, we knew our dad and he knew of us, but because of their separation, no, I was not raised with a dad. And the grocery store that he went to get stuff for the bar, you had to pass our house each time we went to the giant supermarket on Annunciation Street. And I would see him coming and going, and you know, we had nothing to say to one another. But by the grace of God, and we having Derrick.
Okay, but before we get to how y'all initially had a conversation, how did that make you feel though, growing up? Not really having a relationship with your dad, but seeing him.
At first, you feel bad, but then it become immune to you. You just don't even worry about it. I know who you are. You know who I am, but I know you, but I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he lived. That's how I lived. So it was just. I really felt like that's how life would always be, but you never know what God has in store for you. And from that day, my dad took me to my mama's house after we left that grocery store. And we had this little sit down, and I understood him and I understood her, but it wasn't fair to me nor my sister or my brother, that we were raised without our fault as well. It doesn't matter if y'all still together. We didn't ask to come here, just like the rest of them didn't ask to come here, so we were raised without him. But my sister Johnny Mee, she was a little more closer to my dad. I think that name, like Johnny Mee. So
that sit down that happened, was it pretty much like, at this point, well, how old were you at this point?
I was about 23, 24, something like that.
Okay.
That might have been like 25 or 26, I think.
Okay, and at this sit down, it was pretty much both sides clearing the air?
Yes, both sides cleared the air, and both of them had valid points, Both of them had valid points. I don't think I want to tell those points right now. I might use that for my volume 2. But they both had valid points, and I understood both of them. It wasn't right toward us. I still felt like we suffered because of that.
And you spoke on, your dad's last name, your last name Williams, and you have 2 brothers, Brian, Baby, Williams.
I have a bunch of.
A bunch of siblings, but Cash Money.
Everybody is familiar with my Cash Money brother, Brian, and Slim, even Slim, But it's a bunch of us and stuff like that. But some of us every day, that's not what it is.
So around that time when you get in, you and your dad, y'all have a relationship. Did you have a relationship with Baby and Slim?
Yeah. My sister Kim, she has the same mom and dad with Baby and Slim. And I actually was back there by the bar one day. My sister was in college, and she came to the bar. My dad introduced us, and we clicked from right then and there. We became very close. I mean, we was really close, and we'd go sleep at each other's house, hang out all the time and stuff like that there. And Slim would always be at the bar, and so me and Slim would talk a lot and things like that there. Now, and people take let me make sure y'all understand what I'm saying when I say what I say, because you like the twisted thing and all that is here. When I said I wasn't around Baby that much, I didn't like what I meant is not that I didn't know Baby. I knew Baby. I'm going to my daddy's house, Baby at my daddy's house. I'm letting my son be in the company of Baby. So when I said that on another video with somebody, interview with somebody, I didn't deal with Baby as well, I didn't know Baby as well. because he wasn't at the bar. I didn't know baby. He was not at the bar. My daddy and them was always at the bar. When I went to my daddy's house, baby, come do and stuff like that there. But yeah, I knew baby. I let my son go sleep at his house and everything.
And people just,
Yeah, they twist stuff, and but it is what it is. I don't wear my feelings on my sleeve.
Right. So at what year did Cash Money kind of the record label kind of start up? Could you remember? Or a better question, when did Derrick start going around Cash Money?
We was going around Cash Money before my husband and I separated.
Okay.
And I think we separated maybe like 89, something like that. I can't remember the exact date, but he was going around them before we separated and before they blew up.
Okay. And they were always interested in each other as far as a label and artists.
Right.
Okay. And then, there's been a lot of things being said about Derrick on the internet.
Right.
That you put in the book.
Right.
It was, I guess, two things that bothered you about his character being in question. One was him being a bully, and another was him being a thief.
Right.
Do you want to speak on that? Because what they say is he was voted out of Cash Money because he was pretty much a bully.
Right.
But that wasn't the case.
Right.
Do you care to speak on that?
I'm gonna say this much on it. First is him being voted out because he was a bully. I think if they really want to know the true reason why, they'll have to read this book to know that. But I am going to say this here. If you say Derrick was a bully, and stand on what you say. I have seen so many different stories about, first he was a bully, then he didn't know what he wanted to do, then he was an influencer on the rest of the group. And I feel like all these changes up because, you know what, y'all said a lot of things because BG is locked up. And I love BG dearly, I really do. And before my son died, after his death, I still love his music. I still love him. But I think people say things and you wasn't thinking, maybe they wasn't thinking he was going to come on, but BG about to come on. So when y'all make him look like this bully, I never heard BG say nothing about Derrick. I never heard Lil Wayne say nothing about Derrick, but y'all made him look like a bully of those guys. So the person who putting it out there, you're making them look weak. Now he about to come home, people clearing it up. He was like an influencer when they would have to be.
Like a studio
time. He got them in the projects. All those lies. If I say something about you, I'm gonna stand on what I say. Then it's like you act like they're a friend of Derrick, but yet at the same token, it's shade being thrown on his name. I don't care how nobody else see it. I don't care how my son see it. When they doing this here, you're talking good about him, but then you're throwing shade on his name at the same time. That don't mix to me. I don't consider a person as real. I feel like you're trying to shut Derrick's name down because Derrick's name was hot on social media in all kind of ways, good and bad. And Leva even did call me up right before Derrick's birthday or right after Derrick's birthday, the day after or the day before, I don't remember exactly when, apologizing for, you're making it sound like he was apologizing to me for how I felt about you saying that him and Derrick stole from Baby. You never said Derrick and you stole nothing from Baby now. You said Derrick stole from Baby, the limo money and stuff like this here. And you also, like Baby didn't want to deal with you after that. So as a friend, I have to look at it. I feel like it's some animosity that I didn't make it with Baby now because of Derrick or something like this. Because if Baby wanted to deal with you after that, Derrick dead and gone and all this. If Baby wanted to deal with you, Baby gonna do what Baby wanted to do. But they started throwing his name out there for social media gain, and you're saying good things and bad things at the same token. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. Oh yes, he know what he wanted to do with his life. He told me what he was going to do with his life, you know. And like I say, they throw out stuff that we didn't even talk about on social media. But I'm not gonna go through all of that right now because that's not what this about. But I have to say that there, and it was the bully and what else we was talking
bullying and a thief.
Yeah, well that
Right.
that goes with the part of the thief part as well, you know, because I put it in this book, and if you want to know how I feel about with this thief stuff in this book, it's in here. It comes from my heart. It doesn't change. I don't care who apologizes. I don't care who feel like that person didn't have to apologize to me. No, I wouldn't apologize if that's what, you know. That's what he did. That's what I meant. I stand on that. I'm sorry you feel that way, Miss Dorothy, but yes, your son did do this. But no, you flip the script and try to make it look like I didn't know you felt that way because we were children and we did this here and we took that. You know, it wasn't no we thing. It was Derrick stole from his uncle. Who would want to deal with you if you stole from him and you my uncle? I wouldn't want to deal with you. But I will say this here in this book: fair exchange ain't no robbery. Now, if you want to know what I'm talking about, read the book.
For sure. Fair exchange ain't no right. So yeah, read the book, and you're gonna figure out why he didn't sign the cash money.
Right.
It wasn't because he was voted off.
Right. Exactly.
There's a deeper story behind it. So if you want to know the story, please go get the book, and you'll figure it out. And while we're on the topic of, you know, things that you don't like, you also didn't like the nickname Bulletproof.
I didn't like that name, period. And I let my brothers know, Slim and Baby, that I didn't like that name. That name came from my brothers. And, you know, I guess because Derrick read it, attitude, how he talk and all of that there. But still, like I say, if a person would try you to see if you're bulletproof, he's not bulletproof, he's dead. You know, it's nothing bulletproof about that. And he didn't even call his own self bulletproof. He called himself Little Derrick, even after he wasn't even with Cash Money. And with Cash Money, you know, BG Derrick was stood for them all, you know, baby gangster. But he never really called himself bulletproof or nothing like that. Yeah. And another thing, even after Derrick was no longer with BG, Baby now, and BG was no longer with Baby now. BG and Derrick still did music together. They had no beef with each other, no jealousy and all of this type of stuff, you know, as I have heard. It was none of that there, you know.
Okay, so people have been saying that Derrick had beef with the Cash Money artist.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it was like he was jealous of BG, and no insult, but I even heard it from, you know, BG, Mother Queen, no disrespect to you because I love your son dearly, and I love my son too. But my son, he had no jealousy of BG. Him and BG got a song together after he was with Cash Money. No, was BG was with Cash Money. You know, they did music together on Derrick Lee. So it wasn't no jealousy, but people try to make it sound like, because Derrick, their nephew, and he took them over Derrick. And like I say, I'm gonna say Derrick didn't live a street life and all that. He did. He lived a street life. But guess what? It was a lot of things he didn't do, you know. And well, I don't want to throw shade to nobody else. What I was about to say about the things he didn't do compared to some of the things others did. So we're gonna leave that one.
And speaking of Derrick, I guess you could say in the streets, in high school, would you say he was more so, you started seeing him more in the streets in high school when he was fighting a lot?
That's probably about when a lot of changes started taking place, you know, during the high school time and all of that. They'll get into it, but that was also a part of a breakup, I think, you know.
And he was fighting. He got expelled from the first high school, had to go to a different. Did he ever finish high school?
Read the book.
Read the book. And you weren't too fond of, I guess, the people that he hung around this time as well.
No.
It was a. Did you ever express that to him about the company he was keeping?
Yeah. I mean, I should let him read it, but I done seen it before. I actually dreamt Derrick got killed by the hands of his friends. Derrick was alive, and I'm crying, and he's right there sitting on my lap like, and he's crying with me and stuff like this here, because it had me so upsetting and stuff like this here. But like Derrick said, as he got older to me before his death, you know, sometimes when you're out on the streets, you just can't walk away. You have to wean yourself away from people and things, you know. And that was his intent. That was his intent, but he got cut short before he could do those things.
So you can't just jump right out. You gotta just kind of.
You know, sometimes you know too much of people business and things. You know, you have to just wean your way away from certain people. You know.
Mm-hmm. That's real. And so you also was familiar with a young kid by the name of Twan at the time. That turned out to be Young Buck.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't, and I don't think that's in the book, but I think I've seen it on another.
They used to come to my house from Tennessee with Derrick. And
With
Derrick and I think it was with Cash Money Brothers too. So yeah, they used to come around from Tennessee a lot when we lived on Chippewa Street. They came down quite often. I forgot the other guy name. That it was two or three of them used to come down, but I remember the guy, Young Buck.
Young Buck. I know he.
I mean, I can count if I was to see the other guys.
Right.
I don't know who they are.
Oh, okay.
They were real sweet, you know.
Oh, they say they all good guys. Yeah. Okay, that's good. They were all pursuing the rap thing.
Right.
So him and Derrick probably the same age, I'd assume.
Close to it, yeah.
Close to her, probably, yeah. Well, I think he might be a little Derrick. Yeah, I think he's a little younger, yeah. Yeah, I seen that. And I thought that was because him and Derrick actually have a song together. So
I like that one they had Wanda.
That's the one I'm referring to. Yeah. So.
You know, that's a true song too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people. I mean, because one thing for sure, two things for certain. If they out there in the game, if nobody don't know their business, you got one female, you gonna take your business. And so a lot of times she'll be setting you up because you get killed quicker with a female setting you up than anything. It's sad, but it's true.
And that's where a lot of the beef starts too, behind a female.
Right.
Even though a lot of people don't want to admit it, they always act like the tension is elsewhere, but it really always starts behind the female.
Derrick had so many girls when he died. People tell me this name of Mr. That was his girlfriend too. I can't put all these girls' names in no page. I'm not about to do that. I know what Derrick is. Right.
And speaking of, you say all these girlfriends when he passed. He actually had a girlfriend. You said the ones that you would meet is the ones that he cared about. And he had a girlfriend and she was pregnant. Are you able to speak on that? I believe her name was Cass.
I think I will speak on it. She might just say this
right.
video, yeah, so maybe that would need to get spoken on. Yeah, when Derrick died, that little girl Chastity, he was talking to. Chastity had got pregnant one time before, but they didn't keep it. They were young. But anyway, right before he maybe some months or so before he died, he told me, I don't want to mix the months up, but it was in between. I'm gonna say that 6-month period of him when he came home.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me Chastity was pregnant, and he actually put her on the phone with me. I actually spoken with her, so I knew this was true. And she was like, she was about to go to college. She didn't want to keep the child, and so a while after Derrick got killed. But if she should have a child within their 21 years of age, because it's like 21 years going into 21 years, Derrick has been dead. And I feel like if there's a child within that age, I feel like that to be my grandchild. And if you seeing this here, Chastity, and if it is true, I don't care if 21 years passed. I would love to meet that child if that child is still here. You know, if you had that child, it doesn't matter about the 21 years. I always loved it. That's a part of me. You know, I don't have no children from Derrick. And if you do have that child, reach out at me, you know.
Yes, Chastity, reach out if you see this video. That'll be a blessing right there.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not mad at you.
Right.
I understand. Y'all's young.
Right. So, going back to something a little more funny, in the company, you know, Derrick would keep that you weren't too fond of, it was this, he had a friend, Loco. Well, now, what happened with Loco?
I recently found out that this person has passed.
Oh,
so
man.
I respect, I don't want to speak on
Okay.
it. If they want to know about it, they can read the book as well.
Okay. Rest in peace, Loco.
Yeah.
If you want to know that story, please go pick up the book. It ends with, I can say the story ends with Derrick chasing Loco through the fair.
Yes, that was a deep, but yeah, to read it. But rest in peace.
Right. Rest in peace, Loco.
I'll speak on it.
Right. I just wanted to throw that little part out there.
Yeah.
And you just spoke on Derrick coming home from doing some time.
Right.
And you spoke on a visit, a very emotional visit. When you came out there, you had your son with you, your younger son. And can you speak on that visit?
That visit was the best visit I ever had. I think that was the best visit I ever had because, see, when we go visit Derrick, he acting crazy, clown. He got all his partners coming over, howling at us and all of this. He acting crazy. And Delvin always mightily had a proper accent, so he'll have people coming over listen to him because he used to say all his words correctly, you know, a little nerdy somebody. But, you know, one point in time of us being there, it was a time that he seriously told his brother, you know, pull the curtain back and said, don't come back as a brother. He said, listen to mama, you know, go to school, get your education. He said, this is no place to be. He said, don't never come back here. It's not for nobody to be. You know, so. And I loved it there, you know, because it was always a jokey thing when we went to visit him and stuff like that. You know, he'd tell me, "Man, don't worry about me. I'm a man. I can handle me." But that particular day, he let his brother know this is not no fun thing back here.
Mm-hmm. And you know, maybe something came over him. You know, he see his son coming to visit him when his brother come to visit him when his brother go down the same path. Because, you know, I mean, he's in there, he said he always be joking around, so his spirits are high, but at the end of the day, you know, don't follow this path.
Right, you don't want to think this is okay.
Right. And what do you think, because, you know, you did a great job raising him. Right. What do you think it was that you know, that you just couldn't keep him what do you think it was, the environment, or just, what do you think it was as far as him just kind of going out all the way out there?
I think it was not just the company. I ain't gonna say the company that, you know, the new company he was starting to keep, the separation, the letdowns of, you know, introducing you to stardom and pulling from under you. You know, all of that led to him, I'm gonna get it one way or another, you know, and that's what he did.
So you think, read the book, or go get the book if y'all want to know about the stardom being pulled from under him.
Right.
And I mean, you make a good point as far as him just wanting to get it one way or another. Right. That can definitely make somebody just go out there and just try to get it on their own. And you know, you always spoke on. You yourself never wanted a handout,
right? Never
asked for a handout, and you say he took that from you as well. So you know he had to go do what he had to do.
And he did.
Right.
You know he did. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I agree with everything. You know, Derrick have done in life and stuff like this here, if I could do some things over, I probably would, and some things I probably would never do over, you know. But you hear the things I hear from the street talking is nothing that you hear from the social media, you know. I mean, from people who knew Derrick back in the day, who said, oh, the dirty Derrick and such and such, you know, something happened to go. I ain't gonna go into that. But you know, that's not what I hear on social media. You know, I hear all this old cutthroat stuff with the people who claim to be their friend, his friend, or they collide with one another and they put their story where it came from this one and it came from that one. Wait, they put their stuff together, you know. It's all social media fake. At that same token, when y'all doing this here, you still got a mama that's alive. And like I say, if it's the truth about him, it is what it is. It's nothing I can change.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, he was very talented, and I know Baby and Slim, they're obviously great CEOs. They know what they're doing. I don't think that they would let that talent go over a vote, or at least just have a conversation.
If you really listen to it and stuff like that, right? At least, and not even having a conversation. Well, you know, okay, his mom ain't agreeing with. That don't even make sense and stuff like that. And like I said, we had no beef with one another. We were like family. So I mean, right now today, for as my heart is, I don't have no beef with them. I love them, but we love each other from a distance. You know, I'm the underdog for, you know, or the black sheep. I don't know how you want to put it, but I understand that's their wealth, and I'm happy for them. God bless them with that, because at that same token, God allowed us to see that my son was going to make it. Mighty Lee is going to make it. This book is going to make it. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter already be on the keyboard like she know how to play. Mighty Lee daughter, she be acting like she know. So it might just be in our blood, you know.
There's a story in the book where he got his lawyer.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I was trying to figure out, how did he get his lawyer to,
That was something else. That's just how. That's what kind of mouthpiece he is.
Right.
Because you know what? The thing about that lawyer looked at him and see money. He seen my brother's cash money. My son didn't have it going on. My brothers had it going on.
Okay, so do you mind telling the story of what happened between him and the lawyer?
Just know. You see, that was a good way to put that.
Uh-huh.
Just know. Everybody was like, oh. Derrick always kept a car. Derrick always kept a nice car, a rental. And people always felt like people just did it for him, but Derrick paid for it. Whatever you did for him, he paid for it. But because the lawyer thought he had money, the lawyer to rent that car for him. That story didn't go too well. But it's in this book too.
It's in the book.
Yes, I couldn't believe that, but it was true.
Then the car come back with a little fender bender, and everything hit the fan. And like she said, that story is in the book.
You got to get the book to know that story.
And you had to put up your own money for that, as far as fixing.
We gonna tell them too much.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to.
Tell them too much. They got to get the book for
right.
that. But yeah, he got a mouthpiece. I couldn't believe that he really had talked him into doing that. When he told me that, I thought he was playing. Till it hit the fan.
And I said we're gonna get back on this. I mentioned it earlier. Was your gambling addiction? Because in the book you
I was a heavy gambler.
Heavy gambler. What was it that which games did you gamble a lot on?
I like to play Tom, but back then, like if I'm in the neighborhood, they like to play pitty pat. Now, some people they played a lot of Tom. You not play Tom?
I do not. I'm familiar with the game, but I don't know how to play it.
Tonk is a thinking game. Pitty pat just a fast game. But Tonk, you use strategies with Tonk. So I love to play Tonk. And from my playing Tonk and pitty pat, my daddy was a Tonk player. I have actually played at the bar with my daddy before. You know, after we got to know each other, I have sat at the table and played with him and other people. But I loved it to play Tonk. But then from Tonk to pitty pat, you come along these casinos. Bankruptcy.
I get it. I mean, I'm more of a spades player.
I just like to play spades on my phone.
Oh, me too. Me too. I got the app right on my phone.
Yeah.
But my family, I can say like my brothers and sisters, we can like kind of gamble with everything. We play spades. We can play Uno. Growing up, I used to love shooting dice. To be honest, I used to love shooting
I used to
dice.
shoot dice too.
Yeah.
So when Derrick loved shooting dice. That was his thing. He'd rather shoot dice. So I feel like he got it honest because he came up seeing people shoot dice. Yeah, I was a dice shooter. I don't know if he so much seen. I don't think he too much seen his mom shoot dice because those times I probably wouldn't. But yeah, when we had those card games and suppers, I done shot dice many times and stuff like that. But my ex-husband, he loved to shoot dice, so I think, like I said, he got gambling honest, He loved to gamble, he loved the dice, and that's the stories that I have heard about, the gambling shack and dice games, but that's not the stories that social media tell.
Right. And we spoke on Derrick kind of being in the streets more now. This is later years of high school or just high school period. What was some back then? What were some of the things that you would hear about him doing in the street, and how did you take to it?
I really didn't hear much about him with the streets wise, except for like the schools getting into fights or something like that. There, me getting on him about cutting class and stuff like that. There, but it wasn't much rumors about him doing no dirt or nothing like that at that time.
Okay. And going back to that lawyer situation, there was another situation where he had to finesse his way out of the system.
I know.
You know what story I'm referring to.
His brother.
Yeah. Can you share that story?
Just know he didn't want to go to jail. It was crazy. I had taken my son to the nursery that he was in, and I got off work early, and I just coming down Tulane and Broad, in the courthouse on Broad, on the corner of Tulane and Broad, and they had a McDonald's across the street from me, and my sister and I getting off the Broad bus, and I see Derrick and my baby. And then it had to dawn on me, didn't I take him to school this morning? And we were like, he got him in his hand, and Derrick busts out laughing. He already know I'm looking at you kind of stupid, like, what is you doing with my baby? And my baby said he brought Nicole with him and told him, say, brother, because they called each other brother. He said, brother, if they get ready to take me to jail, he said, I'm going to say, please don't take my brother to jail. Please don't take my brother to jail. And so, he showed me at the babysit his brother, and he got out, he came home that day. Derrick did some weird stuff, though. Yeah.
He had to do what he had to do. It worked.
Yeah.
They didn't lock him up, So.
I ain't gonna share all my both stories with y'all.
Right. They gonna go get it. They gonna go get it. So the next part, so I'm just trying to go down like a timeline, which leads up, and you can speak on this to the best of your ability. Is Halloween night or day 2002. To the best of your ability, can you take us to that day?
Oof. Oh, Halloween day. Halloween day, I talked to Derrick early on the phone, and had a bunch of people at our house, a bunch of snakes at our house hanging out with him, like they're doing music with him, whatever. And I actually fussed at Derrick that day about them being at my house and stuff like that there. Because Derrick don't bring people, you got certain people come out every once in a while, but I know who you are. But he don't really, like you say, he don't do his stuff nowhere at my house. If he out there hustling, selling his little stuff or whatever, he's not doing it at home. And so that day, a bunch of them hung out at the house with him. And he called me, and right now the day, if I'm on somebody's job, I would never ignore my phone for nobody because I miss my son's phone call because of me being at work. And that was gonna be the last time that I heard my son voice. He left me a voice message asking me did his brother need anything for Halloween, did we need anything. But anyway, I took my lead trick or treating, didn't want to go. I had my house decorated like a graveyard, something I never had done before. And this thing Derrick was
Grim Reaper.
the Grim Reaper. He was dressed like the Grim Reaper and stuff like this. I had the graveyard, the skeletal hands and all this all on my door, and just the whole thing decorated. And I haven't never in my life done that. But anyhow, I took my baby trick or treating. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. I don't want to get emotional with none of that there. So I took him trick or treating, and there wasn't much trick or treating going on that night. So we ended up going to First Emmanuel Baptist Church. They had activities going on for the children. I ran into my little nephew Sean before I got to the church and stuff. We just do get brought up. And we hollered at each other for a minute, told each other we love each other. But anyhow, we ended up going to the church. It was me, my son, and my brother-in-law. He is deceased now, but my sister's husband, Carnell, called Cool. So the three of us was together. And then I was at work. My phone had went dead, so when I found out I missed Derrick called, I said I'm calling back, but my phone was dead. And I put it on the charger when I went home. So when I left to take my baby trick-or-treating, I really didn't want to go, but he kept begging me, "Mom, you see you're going to take me this time. Sweet, you see you're going to take me." They call me Sweet. And I always let my brother-in-law go. I don't believe in Halloween and all of that there. So I went on and went, and while we were at First Emmanuel Baptist Church, I am going to say this here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, like I said, because I don't want to get emotional. They'll have to get this book if they want to hear that whole story. But while I'm at that First Emmanuel Baptist Church with my son, going into activities, Halloween activities, my firstborn is on Tyler down in Liberty being murdered. And I come home where my heart shattered, my life changed forever.
And because I don't know what you want to speak about and what you don't. So if I ask a question or whatever, you can just shut it down. But one thing that stuck out to me with that whole story, y'all gonna read the book for the whole story, is that you said you never felt a bad vibe that day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Normally if something happened to Derrick,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been time that the police be out stopping or anything, can't happen to him. I remember one time the police stopped and held him on the corner. Someone that came to me and let me know. But I already felt this vibe. Anytime something was going wrong with my son, I felt that bad vibe.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't give it to me that day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that vibe.
When you reflect on it, do you have like any reason to like why you don't think you got that vibe that day? Or you never really reflected on it?
I don't know. Was it gonna be too much for me?
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. It was a lot. It took a lot away from me, and to this day, that pain is still real. I lived with that pain 20 years, and to this day, that pain is still real. I miss my son every day of my life. I think about Derrick every day of my life. I said before, I went through stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. I ran aggressive cancer. It does not compare to the pain of somebody taking my child away from me.
We can move. And something like I said, if you don't want to speak on this because it's kind of still on the topic, but it kind of, when I was reading the book, it kind of was something that stuck out to me as well. You mentioned the dream you had when you said, the dream was someone that you knew or that he knew was the one that killed him.
He was being killed by the hands of his friends.
Hands of his friends.
And I knew that them, and they, they agreed with me, but I know they were the murderers.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that at the funeral, you mentioned that you felt they were amongst the crowd. You also mentioned, because you wanted to see him, how you wanted to see him that night real bad after the fact. And you mentioned the look in his eyes. Mm-hmm. You said it was, his eyes was like a shock. He was in shock.
It's like, it's like a look of disbelief, like I can't believe I'm dying at your hands.
Yeah, that just stuck out because it made me think about you, because you spoke about the dream earlier in the book, and it just took me right back to the dream.
And see, the thing with that, like I said, you would have to read the book to hear exactly what I'm saying about how I got to see that look in my son's eyes and everything, But it was, and as a mother, I had no business saying while watching my son dead. My son who killed him, look at his eyes, the way he was looking at his eyes, First thing I said, my son who killed him, look at his eyes. And I'll never forget that look. I mean, I can see that look right now as I'm talking to you.
And that wasn't, and go get the book for the whole story, the in detail story, but that wasn't how you anticipated seeing him.
Right.
You wanted to, well, y'all go get the book and y'all will see what,
But I feel like God has a way of doing that. I would miss something that had I seen it the way I wanted to see it. I missed that.
Mm-hmm. And you spoke on the funeral. You were surprised at the turnout of the funeral.
Yes.
And people want to know, a lot of people always ask, I'm pretty sure they ask you, they might ask your son, did your Cash Money brothers, did they bury him?
No.
They did not?
No. I brought my son into this world, and from the day that I brought my son into this world, I had insurance on my child. I did get, I think, it was $1,000 or two, whichever one I put in the book. And that's because you had to pay cash money out your pocket for the opening and closing of the grave. Other than that, and I asked for that, nobody offered to give me anything, but it is what it is, and that was my child, and he had a nice homecoming, he had a beautiful homecoming, and the outcome was tremendous, I thank God. I wasn't all into this camera thing, and a lot of my mind wasn't even really on photos. The photos I got somebody else gave to me, but some of it is in the book.
A lot of them.
Even part of the film.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, he had that New Orleans traditional homecoming. The second line band, the horse and carriage. Only thing I didn't get. The white doves, and somebody told me they don't fly, but they do. I don't know what they told me that you can waste your money because they're not gonna fly off, but yeah, they do fly off.
I heard sometimes they do.
Beautiful. I don't know, but maybe at that time, because that was way back then. Maybe they wasn't as trained as they are today. Because I have been to several funerals and seen the doves, and I thought it was beautiful. So yeah, that's the only thing I didn't have, but. Yeah, I had that traditional. We was big. I ain't gonna say we were bigger than Soldier Slim, because we wasn't, but he had a nice homecoming.
And you
Shout
mentioned
out to Soldier Slim.
Shout out to Soldier Slim. And you mentioned Baby and Slim did attend the funeral.
Yeah, they did attend the funeral.
Mm-hmm. And then the second line was just a great second line.
Right.
And yeah, end up the second line's yeah, stop somewhere and y'all started playing a song. What song did y'all start playing?
When we got to the part where the second line band was gonna let us cut off and horse and carriage, you about to get out. Everybody was playing the beef and that was squashed.
Beeping, that's a classic.
Right.
Yeah, and the way you described it, I know you for the funeral, you were real, just hurting. Obviously, you needed help, just kind of getting around. But for the second line, it seemed like you had like a boost of energy.
Right. I thank God for the funeral because you don't know how you're gonna be, and I don't even remember if I put it in this book or not. I really don't. But the night before the funeral, I brought my baby to the funeral home. Yeah, okay. It's because I wanted him to be prepared for what he would see that next day, and I thank God that I was able to stand with my son and speak.
Oh yeah.
The enemy didn't get those tears. Yeah, I have these tears now. I still hurt. I'm human. When you killed my child, you killed a part of me. But for that day, God let me stood up and praise God like I was in church. They didn't get those tears. I stuttered when I talk, and you didn't get the stuttering when I got up and spoke. I wrote my own thing when I wanted to say and all of this here. Kind of messed up my obituaries. I wanted to do my obituaries, and at the end, I found that kind of being a little harder than I thought. I done did help with many people with obituaries, but I couldn't really do my own like I wanted to. But I was still grateful I did. Yeah, I did. So it was all good.
Mm-hmm.
I have 21 years of memories, and my good definitely outweighs the bad. So that's what I live on for.
You spoke about the pictures in the book. I mean, there was some exclusive pictures you added in the book. What made you? Is that just a part of you just giving the whole truth and just because there's some pictures I've never even seen like on the internet or anything?
I think when I decided to add pictures with certain things I was saying, like when I spoke about him dancing on Bourbon Street, I got that picture. I couldn't find that picture for nothing. I did the book together, found the picture, but I just didn't put it out. But because they let her go me and take my pictures now. So, but certain things I was saying, and I didn't just want to say it. I wanted people to see, I'm not just talking. I'm not just making this up because this is my child, or nothing like that. You can see from young he dressed. He was always kept up and things like this. You can see our family time and things like. So I didn't want people to think this is something that she's just putting together in words. And when I was putting pictures, now I had even more pictures, but my son told me, my release said, we don't put too many pictures, we don't want to take away from your story. And that was a good thing, but I wish I would have put them on those back pages because I didn't know that was going to be like that. But when I was talking certain things, when I say about this TV, I'm not just talking. You see this TV right now, And back then, everybody couldn't afford that there, so we was blessed to be one of those people that had it. The only one I ever had seen, honestly, was my daddy's house. Because my daddy had one. But at that same token, I got one too. And I don't know how long you done had yours, but I got one too. I ain't got the money you got, but I got one.
Right. I thought the pictures were great. Like I said, it was pictures I'd never seen before. It really helped put a visual to the story.
Right.
Like, you had a picture of you and Derrick walking in your wedding.
Right.
Just plenty of pictures when he was young, dressed, the Mardi Gras, Indian.
Right.
So I thought, I love the pictures in the book. It was, I enjoyed them.
Because some people, anybody can put words together and say anything and make it mean whatever you want to make it mean, And it's up to the people to believe you or not. But when they see that, they're, And then people who know me, who really, really know me, when they read this book, then I told me, Dorothy, you made me remember stuff that I had forgotten, you know, and stuff like that. And they know I don't play no games with people and stuff like this. So I mean, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. You know, that's always have been me. Always, if I can do anything to help anybody, I'm there for you. But if I say something, I'm gonna stand on what I'm saying. I'm not backing down, no matter who you are. If that's what happened, it is what it is. So, like I said, so when they were saying this and that about Derrick, y'all said he was a thief, he was a bully. Don't start changing these stories all around. Stand on what you say, you know. He wasn't an influencer. To have nobody hanging out with them, missing a studio. No, that wasn't him. But, like I said, I salute Lil Wayne, BG. They never said nothing bad about Derrick. Even Juvenile, you know, they never said nothing bad about Derrick. If it was true or false, they never said nothing bad about him, you know. So, but Lil Wayne and BG are the names that y'all trashing their name by using my son's name. And look at them today. They legends. BG, Lil Wayne, legends for life. Cash Money Brothers, legends for life.
Facts. And then, you know, you get into that whole situation in the book, and you know, as far as the night, the funeral, the second line. But you shared a few more stories after that about Derrick. One of the stories was he had came to the house. Yeah, I think he was with a friend.
Yeah. Y'all want to know about Derrick being burned or catching anything? You read this book. I ain't telling y'all nothing.
Y'all go read that book. Man, he was screaming.
He loved girls.
And they caught up with him one night. Y'all go get that book.
Yeah, he killed me with that boy. Did some crazy stuff. And I want people to see the humorous side of him. And I mean, he was serious when he came home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the police had to do. So, you know, I want people to see that other side of him, you know, that streets didn't raise him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what you do in the streets when you get older, that's on you. You're grown, but streets didn't raise my child.
Right, and I can honestly say you gave it up, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right. I mean, I gave it up on my own sin.
Right. So, you know, I tell everybody, you know, go get that book if you want to know just a different side of Derrick or more in-depth side of Derrick, you know, and it's 100% authentic. And one more story before we go. Yeah, this is the last one. He was on the America's Most Wanted because Derrick always had he had like a need for speed.
Right. I never knew that after you get so many traffic tickets, it become a felony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he had so many traffic tickets that they had him on. Mm-hmm.
But I relate that to that go-kart.
Mm-hmm. I
never thought about that. But over time, you learned off that go-kart. You know, you up and down the streets, Derrick from Chippewa all the way to St. Thomas Project with that go-kart. My Auntie Jane that catch him out there, get your way home and all of this here, you know. But that was his thing. He loved it, that go-kart. And always had it where he could ride somebody with him because, you know, it ain't no fun to probably just ride by yourself all the time. So
right.
He'd get on that car and he'd be gone. But it was always speeding. One thing, and it's not for Unity 1 used to be on Washington. It's a place I held so long. It burned down. But anyway, one time Derrick was taking me and one of his little girlfriends, Nicole. I ain't gonna say your last name, Nicole. But he was taking us to get our hair done, and he was paying for us to get our hair done. So he coming down the streets, and after we get out, I hear the car spin all the way around in a circle like that, and I'm getting scared. And Nicole like, well, he do that all the time. Like it wasn't nothing. Like,
he doing donuts.
Yeah, and my heart gone because I'm thinking my son about to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
And she like, well, he do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. So yeah, he loved to drive fast.
Mm-hmm. That's
And that fast had them people had him as most wanted.
Most wanted. Oh man, I mean the donuts just take me back to the Cash Money videos too. You know, they used to
Right.
always do the donuts
Right.
and just stunt hard. You know, he was just a
I
stunner.
think he actually got a video with him doing donuts one time too.
Oh, yeah.
Think of it.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that was, I was scared.
Mhm.
I had never seen that. So, I thought, my son's car had went out of control or something, but that was him actually doing that.
Mhm.
Washington Avenue was a busy street,
Mhm.
so that wasn't a nice place to be doing.
He probably just wanted everybody to know he was out there.
And the girl was like, oh, you do that all the time. Like, you know, I'm about to have a heart attack.
I mean, he was just like, even when I do look on the internet and people that speak about him, it seemed like he was a real like stunner.
Yeah, that's why he respected, he idolized his Uncle Baby, he loved his Uncle Baby, and he called himself the #2 Stunna because of who his uncle were. And that's why this book is named Mother of a Stunna, because of who Derrick is, or was. So, yeah, he loved the sun, he loved to get his shine on, he loved for people to pay attention to him. He always said, I'm gonna be well known, he wanted the world to know him. And I'm grateful that the world really do know him. You have people all over the world. This book all the way in Switzerland. I mean, shout out to Switzerland. The guy way to Switzerland brought this book in here. Not only did he buy the book, but he was sending me stuff where he had been following Derrick for so many years with other music and everything, And I mean, people all over Las Vegas, Detroit, Texas, different states, this book went all over. So I'm grateful to each and every one of them. I love them because without the fans, Derrick is just a name, and they still show love. Yeah, you got haters, and I shout out to my haters because you know what, that let me know his dying has not been in vain. He's still being thought of, even if somebody put it in a negative way or a shady way. His death is not in vain. His name is still ringing. Yeah, people try to shut the name down, but can't do that. I still have people text me and say, Miss Dorothy, I love your son, he's one of the greatest and stuff like that. I don't even know half of them text me, but when I get that, it makes you feel good because I got all this people on this ear trying to, shut the name down. Now we trying to bury the name. We didn't got an alpha over, now we trying to bury the name. You got people who still saying, Mr. Dorothy, I love your son. He was one of the best ones, They're saying who they should have got rid of and all of this here, But I ain't gonna say who you are. You knew what they was talking about and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. Each and everybody who have already purchased a book from me, or who love my son music, who have love for my son, genuine love for my son and stuff like this, who know me and love me, who love Mighty Lee and love him, or any member of my family. And those of you who haven't purchased a book, it's not just a book for me, it's a legacy for me. It's deeper, way deeper than a book. I don't even want you to purchase the book and don't read it. I want you to really read this book because this is my legacy right here, And I'm grateful to God that He has able me to leave a legacy. If I don't do nothing else in life, He able me to leave this legacy that no one can take away, And it's all truth. I haven't made up anything in this book. It's all my truth. It's from my heart, It's my joy and my pain, But like I said, in the end, God gave me 21 years, and I'm grateful for each and every day of those 21 years, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm grateful to God for them. So y'all get this book, Mother of a Stunna, Amazon, vintage print exclusive, hit Mighty Lee of Hollywood. Dorothy Harris, IG, Mother of a Stunna, Instagram, Mother of a Stunna, Facebook, Mother of a Stunna. No, Facebook, Dorothy Harris. YouTube, Dorothy Harris, exhaling the silence. It's like I kept everything into me for so long, and I finally decided to speak out on my son. Even it took almost 20 years, but I finally decided to speak out on my son. So Dorothy Harris YouTube. Dorothy Harris YouTube, exhaling the silence. Instagram, Mother of a Stunna. Facebook, Dorothy Harris. Mighty Lee official. No big dog, no rap daddy. exclusive vintage print Hollywood. What did I say? Oh, and Amazon.
And yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you want to share? That was a good way of going up right there.
Just know people when y'all out there killing, you don't just kill that person that you're beefing with. You kill a part of their mother. I mean, it's we're not excluding the daddies because I think the hardest hit are the parents and the siblings. But mama carried that child 9 months or however much. You know what mama did when she carried that child? She went through pain. But see, when that child came out, she forgot about that pain. It was joy. It was nothing but joy. She forgot about all those pains that she was going through, maybe within a few hours ahead of that. And it was unspeakable joy. So when you killed my son, you killed a part of me because to this day, until the day that my eyes closed, I have an emptiness inside me, a void. But God allows me to live with it. And I'm grateful to God for that because I don't drink, I don't drug, I live with it with a sober mind. I dealt with Derrick with a sober mind and heart. And it was only by the grace of God and His mercy that I made it. So be mindful. When you kill that person, just kill that person. You kill a part of that person's mother, siblings, father, but especially that mother.
Yeah, that's deep. But before we go, you actually went through a lot yourself in the year 2021.
Started in 2019, I found out that I had stage 3 cancer. And like I said, I always thought all cancer was the same, but unfortunately I found out different. If anybody look up triple negative breast cancer, HER2 negative, it's a different cancer. It's a rare and aggressive cancer. And I went through that there. And right now I'm 3 years cancer survivor. They say you're in remission. I say I'm healed because I'm not speaking remission because that means to return. So I speak, I'm healed by the grace of God. And I lost my left breast as well, I still have pain in my chest, I have pains in my leg, but I'm healed, cancer free. And the thing about God, I believe your faith can make you whole. You ask God for something, you believe it. I mean, when I was running through cancer, I was thanking God. First I asked Him for healing, and then I started thanking Him. Well, first I had the processing part, thing that I was going through cancer because I took sick once. I found out for a whole week. I cried, throwing up and all this. But then I told myself, Dorothy, you can't fight like that. And so you have to tell yourself you want to live. And a coworker told me, see, Dorothy, look at it like this here. It's 10% cancer and 90% your will to live. And that's how I looked at it, like it was, we all don't make it from cancer, even if we look at it that way, we all don't make it out of it. But God allowed me to make it through there, and I looked at it, my 90%, my will to live. Thanks, shout out to Liddell. But I started quit asking God, and I started thanking God. Even when I wasn't healed, I started thanking God that I'm healed, thanking God that I'm healed. Cancer was rough on my body. Chemo and radiation gave me hell. I got neuropathy pains. I got all kind of ill, sickness from going through that there. That caused me to have more and more surgeries. So when I finally, on my final thing with the cancer, when they took a picture of it, it was like about that size. But when I went through my surgery, they had no evidence of cancer. They could not find nowhere where the cancer was. And that's nothing but God. Hallelujah. Praise God. That's nothing but God. And I'm not this holier than thou person, but I know God is real. So I'm grateful to God that I'm gone in my 3 years of not having cancer.
Yes, for sure. Well said. Yes, just thank you for sitting down with us and sharing your story, your son's story. Again, go get the book. Yes. I promise you, it will not disappoint. It's not a long book either. It's only about 150 pages.
Right. It says a lot in those little pages.
And it's just story after story that I'm pretty sure y'all would appreciate. And this is JB from Truth Be Told Hip Hop. Signing out. Hold the book up one more time. There you go.